Okay, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's having a good Mother's Day. This is my second Mother's Day without my mom. But doing okay. We'll have two shows today. We got a new Mel video that came out last night. That's an hour. We got a Billy Bean. It's 28 minutes. 18-minute Patriot Princess, and a lot of other good stuff. That's why I had to do two shows. Damn, yep. So, what a great show we had. We got over 300 views the last show yesterday. Appreciate that. Hey, here's Paul. Were you been working? We got another good show yesterday, and getting a lot of good stuff. Oh, did you see my headline there on the post there, Boz? I looked at it a lot. She's been coming out with a lot. She's putting some good stuff on her page. Mel. So, yeah, I'm going to start right at 1 o'clock. I know a lot of people will be out with their moms. Hopefully they're listening. And come back for this night show. Okay, it's about time to go time here. So we'll have another great two shows again, and all right, it's go time. All right, first one is a 4-minute Trish video.
Caitlin, this, that, and the other. And mom lives a little bit of a distance. We do spend a lot of time together, and we vacation a lot together. And the kids will be up there seeing her after school gets out. We were very close, but I'm not going to see her this Mother's Day. So I just thought I'd give her a little tribute here. This is my mom. You guys are going to laugh because we were actually in Florida near Mar-a-Lago, actually, when that picture was taken last year. And she's just a wonderful woman who has been hard on me my whole life, but in a good way, in a really good way, because she knew I was capable of a lot, and she always pushed me to excel, and really, was very tirelessly doing that. Here she is with my sister and me. This is last summer in Ireland. We were over there, and my sister, I think she'd say the same thing. I mean, we're just so blessed to have such a wonderful, wonderful mother who gave up her career, actually. So she was a journalist as well. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My mom was a journalist, and she worked for the Boston Globe. When I was a little kid, I used to go out with her on stories. And we'd go out in the field. She couldn't get a babysitter that day. I'd be out with her, and it was a big deal. I also remember going to the library with her at the University of New Hampshire. She have to look stuff up, like in the microfiche. Remember when we actually had to do that and you didn't have the internet at your disposal? And so I'd be with her. She did all this research. And eventually it got to the point when my younger sister came along, Caitlin, and she was just like, okay, I got two of you now. I can't do this. So she gave up that career. But, I'm carrying the torch forward, if you would, because I went back to here we are in Ireland again, my mom there, and it was just lots and lots of fun. And I'll tell you, there's nothing better than being a mom. I got 3 of my own. This is from a couple of years ago at one of their piano recitals. My mom was there at that, and we had a really, really, really good time. And I'll never forget that day. My daughter, Alexandra, the one with the glasses in the middle, she's like, I got this, Mom. And she tossed her music aside and she said, I don't need my music. I'm just going to play. I was like, I think, maybe you ought to take the music, honey. You just take it. Okay. Just to be safe. And she's like, no. I got it. And she's very confident. Again, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And she said, I can do it, and she went out there, and unfortunately she forgot her song. And, it was, I think, probably a scary thing for a little kid. Big audience, you're out there playing the piano, and then you kind of freeze. And that's, a moment when you realize that myself, right, as mom, all I could do is hug her and say, it's going to be okay. And you're wonderful, which is exactly what my mom would have said to me. And I believe my mom also said to my daughter that day, because she was there with us. Anyway, happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you so, so much. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Okay, that's a good one to start with.
Corruption investigation. Right now, in fact, agents are executing search warrants across the Commonwealth.
I don't think we played this one, did we?
Imagine spending 30 years building political power, winning elections, climbing to the top of your state's legislature, becoming the kind of lawmaker whose name opens doors in Richmond, in Washington, and everywhere in between. Now imagine waking up one morning to federal vehicles parked outside your office, no phone call, no warning, no courtesy notice from anyone in the system you helped build. Just agents, warrants, and the sound of boxes being carried out the front door before most of your city has even had breakfast. That is exactly what happened in Portsmouth, Virginia, and the story behind it reaches much further than one office, one warrant, or one morning. Portsmouth, Virginia, Tuesday morning. The city still quiet. At exactly 6:32 a.m., federal agents from the FBI moved simultaneously on 2 locations in the same neighborhood, the district office of Virginia State Senator L. Louise Lucas, and a nearby cannabis business directly connected to her name. The operation was designed to be fast and silent. No press release, no public announcement, no sirens, just trained federal personnel pulling into position while the city around them was still waking up. At the political office, the entrance was secured first. Staff members arriving for the morning were stopped at the door. Workstations were locked down immediately before anyone inside could access, move, or delete a single file. The objective was to capture the record exactly as it existed at that precise moment. Simultaneously, a second team executed the same protocol at the cannabis storefront. Agents entered through the public-facing side. Others covered the rear access. Within minutes, both locations were active federal search sites operating under a single court-authorized warrant. A U-Haul truck appeared outside the cannabis business. Boxes moved from inside the building into federal vehicles. Agents walked in and out of the storefront that had once been a symbol of Virginia's push to legalize and regulate marijuana, now the center of a federal corruption investigation. This was not a regulatory inspection. This was the FBI, and they had come prepared to stay. To understand why that morning sent shockwaves through Virginia politics, you have to understand exactly who Louise Lucas is. She is not a minor political figure. She is the Senate President pro tempore of Virginia, one of the most senior positions in the entire state legislature. She has served Portsmouth and the surrounding region for decades. She is a Democrat, a black political leader, and one of the loudest voices in Richmond on issues ranging from redistricting to criminal justice reform to most recently the legalization and expansion of cannabis in the Commonwealth. That last detail sits at the center of what federal investigators appear to have been examining. Virginia moved to legalize recreational cannabis in 2021. The industry expanded quickly. Licenses were issued, businesses registered, storefronts opened, and significant money began moving through a market that had not existed legally just a few years before. Lucas was a public supporter of that expansion, and she was publicly connected to cannabis business interests in her own district. The question that federal investigators were reportedly pursuing was whether that connection had crossed a legal line. Had political influence shaped cannabis business decisions? Had public power been used to benefit private interests? Had any communication, approval, or financial relationship between the senator's official role and her business connections violated federal law? As of that morning, no charges had been filed. No evidence had been released publicly. But the warrant had been signed by a federal judge, and that meant investigators had presented enough probable cause to justify walking through those doors. Inside the district office, agents moved directly to where records are kept. Political correspondence, business communications, approval documents, financial files, anything capable of establishing a timeline who spoke to whom, when decisions were made, and whether those decisions served the people of Portsmouth or the people who stood to profit from them. Investigators were building what they call a map, not a physical map, but a map of influence. Who had access to cannabis licensing decisions in Virginia? Who benefited from those decisions? Who communicated with whom during the period when those decisions were being made? And did any of those communications cross the line between legitimate advocacy and illegal coordination? At the cannabis business, the search moved faster and more visibly. Records were removed. Electronic devices were collected. Financial documents were secured. The business that had presented itself as part of Virginia's legal cannabis future was being systematically examined for evidence of something far less legal operating beneath its surface. By mid-morning, federal teams were cross-referencing materials from both locations, comparing business records against political office documents, looking for patterns, connections, and inconsistencies that would either confirm or contradict what the investigation had already suggested. To the people watching from the street, it looked like a raid. To the investigators inside, it was the opening of a case file. Then came the development that made an already serious morning significantly more complicated. In a separate enforcement action nearby, described by officials as a distinct narcotics lead under independent review, federal agents recovered a substantial quantity of controlled substances in the broader Portsmouth enforcement area. 158 grams of cocaine, 170 grams of fentanyl, 40 grams of fentanyl pills, 22 grams of methamphetamine. Multiple cell phones and financial records were also recovered at that location. Here is what needs to be stated clearly and without ambiguity. Federal investigators did not publicly connect those narcotics to Senator Lucas. They did not announce that the drug seizure was part of the same evidence chain as the corruption search. No statement was issued linking the cannabis business to the narcotics recovery. That distinction is not a technicality. In a federal investigation involving a sitting political leader, The line between what is connected and what simply occurred nearby is one of the most important lines in the entire case. Investigators understand that. Experienced federal prosecutors understand that. And the public deserves to understand it too. Proximity is not guilt. Timing is not evidence. A nearby drug recovery is not proof of connection.
3 minutes.
But the combination of federal corruption search at a senator's office, a cannabis business simultaneously under warrant, and a serious narcotics seizure within the same enforcement area was impossible for Portsmouth to ignore. By afternoon, the search had become the only conversation in Virginia political circles. Lucas's supporters were vocal and immediate in their response. They pointed to her decades of service. They highlighted her history of conflict with Republican opponents' battles over redistricting, voting rights, and legislative power that had made her a target for political attacks before. To them, the federal search was not accountability. It was a politically motivated action designed to damage one of the most powerful progressive voices in the state. Her critics saw the morning differently. They argued that no elected official, regardless of seniority, political affiliation, or community standing, operates beyond the reach of a federal investigation. The warrant was signed by a federal judge based on evidence presented by career law enforcement professionals, not political opponents. If records existed that raised questions, those records deserve to be examined. Federal investigators, for their part, offered no public commentary. The investigation was ongoing. The evidence list had not been released. No charges had been announced. And in that silence, both sides of Virginia's political divide were left to draw their own conclusions. By evening, the federal vehicles had pulled away from both locations. The district office was closed. The cannabis storefront was dark. And Portsmouth had spent the entire day watching a scene it never expected: federal agents surrounding the offices and business interests of one of the Commonwealth's most powerful elected officials. What investigators carried away from those two buildings was not yet public knowledge. The full evidence list had not been released. The specific records collected had not been identified. The communication logs, financial documents, and business files now in federal custody had not been described in any official statement. But something had already changed permanently. Because once a federal search warrant is executed against a sitting legislative leader, the political atmosphere does not simply return to what it was. Questions that were once whispered become spoken out loud. Relationships that were once assumed to be appropriate become subjects of scrutiny. A fast-growing industry built partly on political support suddenly finds itself under a different kind of light. The cannabis market in Virginia did not build itself in a vacuum. It was shaped by laws, by votes, by regulatory decisions, and by the political relationships that determined who got licenses, who got approvals, and who got access. That is the terrain federal investigators are now walking through. Senator Louise Lucas has not been charged with any crime. She has not been arrested. No public evidence has been released connecting her to the narcotics recovered nearby. A search warrant is not a conviction. A raid is not a verdict. And in the American legal system, every person, including the most powerful senator in Portsmouth, is presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. But the questions that morning raised are not going away. What were investigators looking for? What do the records show? What do the communications reveal about the relationship between political power and cannabis money in Virginia? Because here is the truth that cuts through every partisan argument about this case. When public power and private profit operate in the same space, when the lawmaker who votes on cannabis policy is also connected to a cannabis business, the public has not just a right but a responsibility to demand answers. Answers. Who approved what? Who benefited? Where did the money go? And what does the paper trail show about how Virginia's legal cannabis industry was built? Sometimes the first sign that something is wrong inside a political system is not a dramatic arrest or a headline confession. Sometimes it is simply a quiet federal search at sunrise and boxes of records leaving a building that nobody expected federal agents to enter. The green ledger has opened. Where it leads, that is still being written.
Okay, well, that's Virginia. What do you call it? Fraud or whatever. Another crime state. I got a minute clip, and then I'm going to do the last night Q video. Oh. What is it? Where is it?
Lawn as humanity made first contact with extraterrestrial life.
His name is Zorg. He is an extra cholesterol.
Presidents sat down for what was meant to be a historic, peaceful exchange, but quickly realized
He's here just to fuck with me. Who sent you, Putin? China?
This is good.
I saw the documentary. Independence Day.
destroy it! Zorg the alien caused a chaos of destruction before sabotaging the president's teleprompter.
America's so shit. The shittest. Zigzags, Pineapple Moon, Zorg is life, Earth sex.
He is currently missing.
How's that one, you guys?
The escalation of war here in.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Out of the Darkness. I am Q. Guys, forgive me. I've been away. I just getting back like an hour ago at a big wrestling tournament, and excited. My son took silver, so it's good. It was a really tough tournament. A couple of days of excitement, but wanted to come and talk to you guys real quick. There is an issue with transparency in our government, and I'm afraid that it could be deadly. Now, I'm not a doctor. I have to start off by saying this because, unfortunately, the last time we had a situation like this and I didn't, I was erased unceremoniously. But I feel like until we get transparency, until we're told the truth, until we see people pay for what they did during the COVID years, we're going to be completely unsafe as a country. Okay, so now everyone's pushing this hantavirus thing. And the problem is that the story, it doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense to me for various reasons. Now we're told that Ground Zero was a guy who was bird watching in a landfill in Argentina. And it was a rat-infested landfill. Now, I love to watch birds. My wife absolutely loves to watch birds. I can't say that we've ever gone to a landfill to watch birds. Seagulls, maybe. But, I mean, unless Argentina's got exotic birds in their landfills, I don't know, but it just doesn't pass the smell test. And part of that is because I don't know what I can trust, because we watched them lie time and time again in 2020. And so what do they have to possibly gain by lying? Well, I don't know. It's kind of strange that we find ourselves at the beginnings of another election year, and it's not looking good for the left once again. And because of that, they thought that they could bring about a lot of frustration with the stories of, well, the party is splintered and there's division and blah blah blah, but it's not working. The people have, unanimously said we might not be pleased with everything that Trump is doing, but we haven't forgot that you guys are absolutely insane over there. And so now, again, what are they willing to do, and how far are they willing to push it? We watched and saw what they were willing to do to the American people during 2020. I mean, whether it was through misinformation, or whether it was canceling people who were telling the truth, or whether it was, hiding the origins of it, or bumping up the numbers of deaths in order to scare people. I mean, there was so much fishiness going on that I'm afraid that if we do have a situation, and maybe this hantavirus is a terribly awful thing, and it sounds like it is. The problem is that can we truly trust that their motives are pure? Can we truly trust that what we're hearing is correct information? If they bring out some kind of a medication, can we truly trust that it's good and not just some sort of a concoction built to make money for pharmaceutical companies? I don't know. These are all questions that have to be answered. I read an article yesterday about Korea working with Moderna to come up with an mRNA vaccine for the hantavirus. The problem is no matter how serious it is, will people actually take it? Because once again, we haven't been told the truth about the last pandemic. And so until we get truth, it's going to put a whole lot of people at risk because we're just not getting transparency from those in our government. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think this is a huge nothing burger? Do you think that this is manufactured? Do you think it is a real serious problem that we're going to have to deal with as a nation? Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Comment below.
Yeah, that was last night. Okay, this is last night, I believe. I don't think we played this one.
News you need. I'm your host, H.G. Gerner. Today is May 9th, the year of our Lord 2026. And this is in response to a post on X by Mr. J.P. Pearson, Justin Pearson. He's a Tennessee legislator, and he's pissed off. This poor guy is just out of his mind because the Supreme Court basically said, well, you can't pull the race card anymore. You can't make decisions based on skin color and gerrymander and put people in groups based on skin color. It boils down, JP, and bless your heart. I understand how, your ideology and et cetera puts you in a position in contrast with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court for decades and decades and decades has been the great levelers in this country. Now they're losing respect because of folks like you, bless your heart. You don't like their decision because it brings into specific relief the reality of what's going on here. Any decision based on skin color is in direct violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. JP, I really, bless your heart. Let me see if I may, okay? Put this in the right perspective, okay? Listen, I'm going to read this. You just can't keep pulling the race card. I know you're pissed. It's a bitch. I know. If I may go off the page, okay? We've been trying to tell you folks, but you are a democratic socialist or a Marxist. I understand that. And you just have a different ideology. Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm going to go off the page. For instance, affirmative action. It isn't doing you or anybody in America any good at all. It puts you on the government teat and keeps you there. I got 40 years ago, well, 35, 40 years ago, I got food stamps for a short bit. I got off them as quick as possible because I don't want to wait around for that check. I want to earn my money. I want to become independent, not dependent on the government, and cut my own path. Be resilient, be self-determinant. Affirmative action didn't help anybody. If you understand how it works, it puts one group over another and basically gives them what? Privilege? Right. Because of their skin color. Not working. But more importantly, stay with me, okay? When anyone or any organization uses skin color as a basis to formulate a decision, it is in direct violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Yet you, Mr. Pearson, and your Marxist associates want to perpetuate the narrative that black people or black folks are oppressed, or people of color are oppressed, and they're hated because of their color of their skin. People are going to hate other people for all kinds of reasons, JP. Being black is way down on the list. Stay with me. Hate will always exist where ignorance abounds. What drives hate? Anger. What drives anger? Fear. What drives fear? Ignorance. Hate will always exist as long as people are ignorant, and it's just the way it is. You'll never get rid of ignorance, and you'll never get rid of hate. It's just that when you become an adult, you realize that and you deal with it. That's why we are a nation of laws. Okay? Let me give you another for instance. In the early days of the Republic, the United States, several hardworking, intelligent men, just like yourself, became the first black Republican congressman in America when America outlawed slavery. When it did so, okay, it was the first time in human history that man saw his fellow man as equal, regardless of skin color. JP, no one in America, I don't mean to make light of this, but no one in America is oppressed. Everyone has had all their rights intact and protected from day one. This is why I formed EPAC, ensure the preservation of America and our Constitution. I want to preserve and protect our nation, our Constitution, and our rights. That's what the laws in this country do. A standard was set. The laws protect your rights. When your rights are protected, as they are right now, okay, and no one is discriminated based on skin color, or a decision is made based on skin color, your rights are intact and you're able to exercise them. More importantly, JP, bless your heart, it's time to drop the charade. How can I say this? I understand how you're feeling, but the Marxist narrative and the race card just doesn't work anymore in this country. We know what you're trying to do. I'm an authority on political warfare, or Marxist political warfare. This is pushing the narrative. You Marxists are pushing the narrative that somehow you're oppressed in this nation. People of color. No one is oppressed in this nation, okay? Pulling the race card doesn't help your case at all. It doesn't help anyone. More importantly, I wrote a book, and I dedicated my book to several people. One of them was Thomas Sowell. At the end of my book, I mentioned Thomas Sowell. He put out a little short story, and it's titled, Ever Wonder Why? He starts off, as we go around the world, we see oppression, we see poverty and squalor all over the world. But here's the question. Ever wonder why? Does anyone ever wonder why America was spared that fate? Why don't we have extreme poverty and squalor like in these other third world countries? Why? Because we have a nation of laws, and we have established a standard, and we live up to those standards, and we protect them. We protect your rights. Ever wonder why? I put that in my book. Thomas Sowell was a great man. He's my hero among the few heroes that I have. And he's a black man. When we become educated and let go of our biases, I guess to some degree, we're always going to be biased. But it's that hatred. Nobody hates you, JP. We want you to succeed. That's what we want for all of us. The Marxists need to let go of the narrative, because this war that you're waging on this country, it's so apparent. Anything you say, and when you get angry like this and say that we hate you, we don't hate you. We want you to succeed. We're not buying the narrative anymore, boss. We're going to, here's the interesting point. The Supreme Court made it clear that we're getting back to the country we used to love 50 years ago, the country that worked, the country that trusted its government and its officials. Part of the Marxist political warfare is to wipe out the trust that we have, the American people have in their government. Obama said it in our fourth documentary, or excuse me, in our third documentary. You can go to preservingamerica.epac.com, watch all 4 of our documentaries for free. Removing the people's trust in this system is a major component of Marxist political warfare. I'm here to tell you right now, there's millions of people in this country, in America, that are working to preserve and protect your rights. America's intact. America, there's hope. And this is what I want to give you. This country works. It's working right now. Our government isn't the problem. It's the Marxists in our country, in our government, in our Congress that are telling you massive lies. There's a lot of hope out there. Watch as we get back to the country we love. God.
Okay, another good one from him. Last night's video. Will probably come out one later. I got the other guy. Five minutes.
I am John Michael Chambers, and this is War Report. I ask you to listen with love, as where we go, when we go all. The following report is provided in part by Guardian Daniel R., sourced by Mr. Poole. The new order. Let me explain what just happened last week. Trump blockaded Iran's oil ports on April 13th. As of last week, $4.8 billion in Iranian oil revenue gone. Over 40 tankers seized or turned away. The Strait of Hormuz is now American water. Iran begged for a deal. Trump said no, not satisfied. Iran sent a second proposal through Pakistan. Trump said no again. We might be better off without a deal. That's not negotiation. That's a man who already won and is deciding how much to take. Then he turned to Europe. Germany criticized the Iran war. Trump's response, 5,000 troops pulled out. Effective immediately, Italy criticized him. Spain criticized him. His answer, why shouldn't I leave? They criticized us. The United States just withdrew military protection from 3 NATO allies in just 1 week, and nobody stopped him. Why? Nobody could. The Senate blocked the War Powers Resolution 6 times. Congress won't challenge him. NATO won't challenge him. Iran can't challenge him. Do you understand what you're watching? This isn't a president managing a crisis. This is a man restructuring the global power hierarchy in real time. The old order, NATO, the UN, the EU, they're watching their relevance disappear hour by hour. 4.8 billion seized. 3 allies punished. 1 enemy on its knees, and it's only May. The world they built after 1945 is now being dismantled. Not in secret, not slowly, and in broad daylight, with a smile. They told you he was dangerous. They were right, just not for the people that they claimed. Join me and Juan O'Savin live for the Patriot Q&A Power Hour, May 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be taking your questions live in our private Zoom room. Learn how to participate by visiting jmcbroadcasting.com. You have to click on Premium Portal to gain access. The Global Financial Reset is happening right now. Free educational modules are produced for you by me at wealthcoachuniversity.com. Buy gold, buy silver, buy now, but buyer beware. Call my resource, Bill Armour.
Well, he didn't say very much on that one, you guys. It was only a 3-minute thing. It was 5 minutes, but half of it he was doing his sponsor. Right, my Eagle? Okay, what do we got here? Okay, we got this yesterday, 5 minutes.
Children brought to the United States of America illegally by their parents who've come here illegally. But the children are children. They don't know better. President Obama proposed the Dreamers Act. Congress didn't pass it. So President Obama just ignored the law. He protected them from deportation through executive action. It's called the 2012 Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program. It broke the law. Nobody around here foamed at the mouth. Nobody around here went catatonic, included but not limited to the media. I remember when President Biden did a very similar thing. He sought to preserve and fortify DACA, as we call it. And he also took a number of steps unilaterally to weaken immigration enforcement. We know that. That's why the border under President Biden was an open bleeding wound. He refused to follow the law. Nobody foamed at the mouth around here. Members of the press didn't become catatonic. I don't remember anyone, Democrat or Republican, calling for President Obama's impeachment after a federal court criticized his administration for spending money unlawfully. You remember that? President Obama decided to pay subsidies to health insurers in 2014. Decided to give them money. Just one problem. Congress hadn't appropriated the money. The GOP House, the Republican-controlled House, sued him. Federal judge ruled against President Obama. But the money was spent. I remember when the GAO concluded that the Obama Health and Human Services Department in 2016 illegally spent money. Congress didn't appropriate it by paying insurers instead of sending the money to the Department of Treasury. Nobody around here foamed at the mouth, including members of the press. Nobody around here went catatonic. Now, I didn't come here today, Mr. President, to debate the take care clause of the United States Constitution. We're all familiar with it. The president has a constitutional duty to, quote, take care that the laws be faithfully executed. That's the law. It's in our Constitution, bigger than Dallas, right there. And I believe it. I didn't come here today to debate. I didn't come here today to debate the 1974 Impoundment Control Act, which the courts have ruled to be constitutional, which says that Congress gets to appropriate the money and the president has to spend it. I don't want to get into all that. But I guess my point, Mr. President, in light of this OMB memorandum, which I'll talk about in a moment, my point is that having embraced non-enforcement when they like the results under President Biden and President Obama, my Democratic friends have very little standing. No, in fact, none, zero, zilch, nada, no standing to complain when President Trump employs the same legal theory for different purposes. I'm not suggesting that we ought to follow the rule, 2 wrongs don't make it right, but they do make it even. I'm just gently suggesting that maybe I should have started this speech with, if it weren't for double standards around this place, there wouldn't be any standards at all.
Okay, that was yesterday from Kennedy there. Okay, we're going to do Billy Bean. It's 28 minutes, you guys. The first big video.
Hey, someone's looking confident.
Ow, ow! New groom. Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean, May 10, 2026, time in Texas, about 10 a.m. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share, and happy Mother's Day to all of us mothers. And some of the things I'll cover today: bodies leave Denver airport. The hantavirus appears to be tied to China and appears to be airborne. And the U.S. military is locked and loaded. So let's get started. So we have this from a Facebook source I use. I found her information good. Kathleen Wanoski Escalera brings this out about the Denver airport. Now, many of us who've traveled through the Denver airport decades ago saw those very disturbing murals. It comes out that the artist who was commissioned to paint the murals said he didn't use creative ability to come up with those murals. Instead, he was given specific directions. We saw things like U.S. soldiers wearing gas masks and stabbing doves and children in coffins and so on. So, yeah, I have put out many videos on the Denver International Airport as being a deep state location underground underneath the Denver airport. Now it comes out that last Wednesday, we had 340 U.S. military vehicles taking access to the 5 underground levels on an entry point not shown on airport maps. 340. That happened about 1 a.m. in the morning, Wednesday. They engaged in a 7-hour mission, coming out about 8 a.m. in the morning through one exit to the ground level, and in a separate exit gate, also not marked on airport maps, came out an additional 12 refrigerated units. Now, it's my belief that the 12 refrigerated units were carrying some type of biological material, either samples or possibly bodies. We don't know if these were human bodies or hybrid bodies, but we are given the information that the 12 refrigerated units, our trucks, then went 14 miles away from the airport to a U.S. military base, Buckley. We are given this information that the code name for this operation is DIA, Denver International Airport /breach /5 levels /3.1B as in boy, underground /lid opened. So that's going on at Denver International airport. Now, we heard about that incident. I believe that happened Friday, where someone got over the fence at the Denver International Airport and was running across the tarmac and was sucked into the engine of a jet, turned into hamburger as it was taxiing down the runway. The question is, as aptly put forth by Pinball, where was the airport security? Now, is the incident of the body being sucked into the airplane engine connected to the incident Wednesday? That's unknown. Pure speculation. So that's going on. And we have this also from Pinball.
You want ads that drive results. That's why we built Roku Ads Manager. Sign up at ads.roku.com.
Life is beautiful and fragile. We fall.
Bringing out some recent sayings by the intellectual AOC, Somali representative from Minnesota, Democrat. You know, once AOC was asked, how do you spell orange? And she said, do you mean the color or the fruit? Yep. So now she's coming out and saying that blacks invented democracy. And Pinball aptly puts forth, what about the Greeks? And she's also saying the American Revolution was fought between the American people and billionaires. Much more likely that the American colonists were fighting against an overtaxing UK force. Yeah, AOC. Watch what comes out of her mouth. And but of course, remember, she's also a commie dem. And we have this from Lay's Real Talk, China Observer, and other sources about the junta. Now, it had been my impression, based on the infection routes of people contracting the hantavirus, was my assessment, this is much more likely to be airborne. And I questioned the Andes strain of the hantavirus from South America as being passed human to human. I agree with Pastor Paul Begley's wife, Heidi, who also has a science medical background. Yeah, that just doesn't happen. Natural viruses don't mutate to suddenly pass species to species. No. But certainly that can happen if the virus is taken to a lab, juiced up, and becomes a bioweapon. Now we have more evidence that hantavirus we're seeing currently demonstrated on the cruise ship Hantius appears to be a bioweapon whipped up once again in the Wuhan lab in China, and also that it has become airborne, a bioweapon. So we have this from these sources I'm citing, Lay's Real Talk, China Observer, and a Harvard Dr. Joseph Allen, that it appears that the junta that we saw a man sickened from the Netherlands on the Hantius cruise ship, April 1, but it turns out that it's very likely he and his wife, March 25, had been exposed to mouse droppings and whatever at a landfill. Now, I submit this is just a scenario that's being put forth, and we have no actual proof for this. This is the story that's being put out. And that they contracted the junta from the mouse droppings and so on. They went to the landfill. They had been on a 5-month trip touring South America. to photograph rare bird species who were attracted to the landfill. That's what we're being told. And then we saw additional, so the Netherlands man then passed away about April 11. Now, March 25 exposure to death, April 6, I believe, would fit in with what the WHO is putting out as the incubation period of 1 to 8 weeks. His wife then left and took a flight back to Johannesburg. She collapsed on the plane. We were told that on the plane, a airline stewardess also became exposed and is being watched. And it was at that point that I had my suspicion that this hantavirus was airborne. Because if you're talking about close personal contact between individuals to pick up a disease, then you're talking about exchange of saliva, you're talking about sex, you're talking about eating the same foods, or possible spittle going from the mouth and into the mouth of another individual. Well, you have to be very close, maybe within 3 feet, to be exposed this way. Much more likely it's airborne, meaning the person is breathing out the infection into the air. They could also be putting, saliva into the air, like through a cough or sneeze, and then you come along and pick it up. Well, even then, as the psalmist David said, we are wondrously made. You have to have a compromised immune system. You're tired. You've been under stress for a long period of time, something to take your immune system down.
17 minutes.
So we're hearing now that many people are being followed. Not only the people that were on the cruise ship, but the people that were on planes, where other people also went to, we're hearing 23 nations or something like that. A lot. Today, the ship Hontius is being offloaded in Tenerife in the Canary Islands, owned by Spain. And that Spain is sending planes there to pick the passengers up and take them to a quarantine facility at a Spanish military base. Now, the U.S. and the UK are both sending planes to Tenerife to pick up their citizens. The medical evac plane from the U.S. State Department will go there and pick up 14 American citizens and take them to a U.S. quarantine facility in Nebraska. So that's going on. And we're hearing now that a month before this outbreak on the cruise ship, China announced they had a vaccine for hantavirus, and it, in my opinion, is not properly called a vaccine. We saw a U.S. court with regard to COVID say that the COVID treatment was not a vaccine, but was a gene therapy. We see China announcing a gene therapy shot 1 month before this outbreak on the Hontius. I agree with Lay's real talk. It seems coincidental timing, doesn't it? But this gene therapy shot for Hanta that China has come up, they plainly say, contains DNA, and I submit DNA from who or what, and also contains mRNA. So the timing, I agree, is very suspicious. And we have this. Yeah, that 1 month ago, the CCP announced they had a vaccine for Hanta. And I submit they call it a nucleic acid vaccine. That is not, in my opinion, also not a vaccine, but it is a gene therapy. And they put forth, the CCP put forth, that it contained DNA and mRNA. 1 month later, we see the outbreak on the Hantias. So that's going on. We also have had in the past 48 hours a statement from a Harvard Dr. Joseph Allen, who works in the infectious disease department, that it's most likely the hantavirus is airborne. So that's going on. And we have this from other sources, that 99% chance that hantavirus is a bioweapon, as we saw with the COVID. And we have this information. The CIA came out in 2025 and said the COVID was a bioweapon. And we have this from President Trump, that the COVID was made in the Wuhan lab in China. It appears from these Chinese expert sources that the Hanta was also juiced up in the Wuhan lab, also in China, with China making another bioweapon. And I've got this to say to President Trump. We know he has that upcoming trip to China next week. Very, very easy for the CCP to go for a twofer and spray something in the air to take out both President Trump and President Xi. So that's going on. And we have this, that the CDC is now labeling the Hanta as a level 3 risk assessment in the U.S., and that U.S. citizens from the Hantias will be quarantined.
Join Planet Fitness for $1 down, $15 a month, and get free massage amenities all month long. Deal ends May 15th.
Month-end close can be chaotic with lots of manual work and looming deadlines, but it doesn't have to be that.
I would estimate up to maybe 8 weeks. They say the incubation is 1 to 8 weeks. So, and as a former high school biology teacher, I can recommend the movie Outbreak, which is good entertainment, but it also contains good science with regard to how viruses are transmitted and what is the treatment. So that's going on. And we have this from Space Weather on YouTube. That's Ben Davidson's site. The sun is quiet again today. But on Ben Davidson's site, Space Weather on YouTube, he puts forth a good paper that details we've had an additional dip in the energy of our ocean currents in the Atlantic. And he cites the movie Day After Tomorrow, which also includes good science. Now, in that scenario, the ocean currents stopped and the Earth immediately went into an ice age. This paper puts forth that could possibly happen within 1 year. That's after the ocean currents, which circulate all over the Earth and mitigate climate. If you don't have the ocean currents circulating, then there are not alternating seasons of cold and heat, and the Earth does go into an ice age. So that's going on. We have this from Crux. The IRGC says that Iran has small submarines operating in the Strait of Hormuz, which are ready to hit U.S. ships. And we had last night a bulk carrier 23 nautical miles from Doha, Qatar, hit by the IRGC. So we see President Trump says the ceasefire is holding, meaning the U.S. is not engaging in an offense, but the U.S. is locked and loaded, ready to engage in defense. And that the crew on this ship hit by IRGC last night was rescued. There were no casualties. There was a fire on board and the crew put it out. So the crew is still on the ship and there were no casualties. And the IRGC is beginning to hit any ships of any threatens to hit any ships of any vessels it deems affiliated with both the U.S. and Israel. And we have this from Al Jazeera, that apparently it's being put forth by both Iran's President Pezeshkian that he had a meeting with the Ayatollah number 2, Mustafa Khamenei. And now the Iranian commander of the joint military forces alleges he had a face-to-face meeting with Ayatollah number 2, and that the Iranian military is separate from the IRGC. And the IRGC is a paramilitary group set up to protect the Ayatollah. And we have this, that the IRGC in January took down around Tehran. They machine gunned down unarmed Iranian citizens around Tehran and cities around Tehran in January, 40,000 people. And we're hearing that away from Tehran and other smaller cities across Iran, they hit an additional 20 to 40,000 people. So it appears the death toll by the IRGC against the Iranian people is 60 to 80,000. That took place in January, February, and I believe some in March. And we have the Iranian military threatens the U.S. with new weapons and new arenas of hits, and puts forth that Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz.
Let Ancestry help you piece together your story. Save now during our Mother's Day sale.
Don't wait until it's too late. Schedule your free roof inspection with Mills Siding and Roofing.
And alleges a recent meeting between Ayatollah number 2 and Iran's President Pezeshkian. So that's going on. And also with regard to that weather report, I gave space weather. We had also information from Skylab. We've seen a heat dome over the U.S. Skylab puts forth that reasonable weather models would predict that the ridge holding the heat dome over the U.S. would dissipate. But instead, what's being seen now is the ridge is intensifying. And I submit we are going through changes in the weather pattern on Earth by forces in space impacting the Earth and the decreasing strength of the Earth's electromagnetic shield. However, we cannot dismiss the possibility, or possibly the probability, that we're also seeing weather manipulation. So that's going on. We have this from Borzikman. Now, I consider Borzikman on YouTube to be a Russian propaganda source, but they are putting forth, and with any propaganda, some truth will be put forth, alleging that Russia had a plan to take down NATO, and that involved this dust-up conflict we've been seeing between Russia and Ukraine. With it appears that Newswithzman is alleging that Russia was also working with the deep state in a deep state objective to destroy first the economy of Germany and then to take down the economy of Europe. So that's going on, and that would come about by denying Europe the use of cheap Russian oil, energy. But we saw the EU fully complicit in that, the EU unelected group who is now in the process of destroying for the independent, I think it's 32 nations now in the EU. So this unelected European Union group is destroying the economies of all of these 32 European nations. It's a deep state objective. So that's going on. And we have this. We have from American Resolve that recently Iran, we saw recently a dust-up between the U.S. military and Iran as the Project Freedom ended in the Persian Gulf area, where the U.S. was going to escort ships, and that didn't work out. Although 5 U.S. flagged ships were able to get out of the Persian Gulf under the umbrella of Project Freedom. Then we saw 3 U.S. destroyers in the Persian Gulf, the Truxtun, Peralta, and Mason. They then passed through and to the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently, this was part of a military plan under the Sun Tzu principle: offer your enemy bait and then strike. So as the 3 destroyers were in the Strait of Hormuz, Iran decided to strike, which the American military knew would happen. Then Iran displayed to the U.S. its launching sites and staging sites for its fast boats, drones, missile launchers, mine-laying vessels, weapons depot, and as soon as Iran prepped to launch, the U.S. military struck first and hit the Iranian port, Bandar Abbas, the islands of Qassam, and Sukur. Way to go, U.S. military. And we have this from U.S. Intel. So Iran announces on Iranian TV today that it preps to strike U.S. bases and ships. And they will do this when the U.S. hits Iranian tankers. And we have this, that Iranian tankers have been hit by F-18 Hornets Plus, launched from the Bush carrier, and have taken out so far 3 Iranian tankers, the Sea Star 3, the Savada, and the Hassam, as they tried to run the U.S. blockade. And we have this, that the IRGC is waiting for the go order from Ayatollah number 2. So it's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. And now, world health. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, that's the first Billy Bean today. We got the next 5 are short ones, then a 10-minute one, and then a 17-minute Patriot Princess. And then I'll do Mel. We got an hour Mel. Oh, I can't play that one. You guys hear about this fire?
Fire is still raging hours after it broke out in a warehouse and then spread rapidly.
That's right. These strong winds earlier today pushed the flames into multiple nearby buildings and forced some families from their homes. Firefighters from across New Jersey rushed in as thick black smoke filled the sky that was visible for miles.
Belleville's mayor declared a state of emergency. He urged people to stay inside with doors and windows closed due to air quality concerns.
Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon is at the scene. Sonia.
Yeah, Tanya and Joe, this is just remarkable. With that emergency declared, firefighters from all over the state of New Jersey answered the call, and they are working so hard right now. They are struggling with low water pressure as they try to get this inferno under control. It started at around 2:30. It has gone to at least 11 alarms, but the reason it's so remarkable is that there are no reports of injuries, and the wind is calmer now than it was earlier. But this fire is perilously close to dozens of homes and an apartment complex. We spoke with several residents who have been asked to evacuate this area with the fire nowhere near under control.
I'm just in shock, to see this happening.
The raging fire has consumed an industrial block of Cortland Avenue in Belleville, but it's affecting homes too.
I have to leave my house because it's going to be dangerous.
The industrial building where it started houses a mattress warehouse as well as a textile manufacturing business. Neighbors heard explosions.
I heard some pops and I saw the smoke, and I received many calls from throughout the area. And like many Belleville residents, I went to see, and it was truly horrific.
The fire sending chunks of debris and ash and sparks into the sky. A gusty wind fanned the flames.
And then it just started growing and growing and just kept growing.
The firefighting effort also grew, and so did the challenges. Firefighters pooled water as pressure dropped. The entire block seemed to melt and collapse, fueled by industrial materials.
Chemicals such as helium have been mentioned, and that would contribute to the fire, to the blaze, and how extreme it's been.
Which is why officials are urging people not to breathe this in if they can avoid it. While some residents have been evacuated from their homes, many more are being told to close their windows and stay inside.
Your health is first, and we don't want anybody getting caught in a place where they don't need to be and exposed to more smoke than they need to.
Yeah, we can smell it here tonight. We can see it. We can feel it. It is hot. Officials are also telling us that any local 911 and non-emergency calls are being rerouted. That's because PSE&G has had to shut off power to the area, and that has affected Belleville's town hall, which is right in the neighborhood. It has no power. This is a fire that can be seen for miles. And again, firefighters from communities from miles around are working here tonight. No reports of any injuries, and they are hoping to keep it that way as this fire that started in a building housing a mattress company and a warehouse and other industrial types of businesses is threatening homes tonight and still going. We're live in Belleville, New Jersey. Sonia Rincon, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
We begin with breaking news out of Belleville, New Jersey. A gigantic fire is still raging hours.
Okay, that was a big update on the fire last night.
Outlet is beyond me, but something like this
needs to be put out there for everybody to see. So there are 18 students that attend a high school in Yancey County. That's in western North Carolina. Yancey County was one of the biggest impacted areas by Hurricane Helene. But these 18 students that attend this high school in Yancey County, they take a carpentry class where you learn how to build things, right? Well, these 18 students confronted their teacher and they asked their teacher, could we build tiny homes for the victims of Hurricane Helene? So for the remaining of the school year, these 18 students, their goal is to build 4 tiny homes for victims of Hurricane Helene. You know, and I think these kids deserve recognition. They deserve to be praised for doing this for people that they don't even know. These kids could go to school, go to class, get their grade, and move on. But that's not what they're doing. And I think that these kids deserve a shout out for what they're doing. Good on you guys, and good on the parents who raised these kids. Why this isn't being blasted on every
the 18-minute Patriot Princess, and then we'll do the shorts later. I got a couple of big ones. We'll do the Patriot, and then we'll go get Nell after this.
Oil. But what if it isn't? What if we're watching a strategic leveling of the playing field of currency? What if this is about power, leverage, and the art of the deal? What if we are watching the stage being set for the next phase of the global monetary system? So let's look at what just happened. The United Arab Emirates just told the world that they're leaving the oil cartel, OPEC, effective May 1st. I find that interesting. May 1st, Mayday. Mayday, Mayday, we're going down, like a distress call. And look at what OPEC is. They call it a cartel, literally. What is OPEC?
The United Arab Emirates says that it is withdrawing from OPEC and OPEC+. OPEC is a decades-old cartel of the world's largest oil-producing exporters. The energy minister says that it will make it easier for the UAE to meet changing demand. But it is a major blow to OPEC at a time when the Iran war has triggered a global energy crisis.
OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. OPEC became the enforcement agency, or the cartel, that enforced the whole world to buy oil in US dollars. OPEC's job was to manage the oil discipline among the oil producing and exporting countries to keep the dollar-denominated pricing system intact. Because in 1971, Nixon took the US off the gold standard. So our dollar was not backed by gold anymore. It was purely fiat. The story of the United Arab Emirates leaving OPEC is actually the story of a financial system that was supposed to be built in secret, which now, for the first time in half a century, is coming apart right before our eyes. So think about it. If you're a country that produces oil, why would you sell something valuable like oil for paper, fiat? But this is why in 1974, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger flew to Saudi Arabia and did a secret deal. The government and the media didn't tell the people. No one knew what the deal was really about. They kept it secret. Finally, in 2016, some articles came out explaining what happened in that deal. Saudi Arabia would price its oil exclusively in US dollars. Those dollars would be recycled back into US Treasury bonds, essentially lending money back to the US, because that's how the US borrows money, right? They create bonds that other countries buy, and in return, the US would give Saudi Arabia military protection and weapons. So every country in the world that needed oil, and every country in the world needs oil, right? They all had to first get US dollars to buy oil. So that created a permanent structural global demand for the US dollar, even though it wasn't backed by gold at all. But now the US dollar was backed by oil. And they used part of the three city-state empire to make this happen, to force it into happening. The US is the military arm of the three city-state empire. The other two parts of the three city-state empire are the Bank of England, funneling all the world's money through the Bank of England, and the Vatican, essentially the vault, the black hole, operating on the surface as the world's most prominent religious institution and charity and mission organization, but under the surface, complete corruption and pedophilia. And it's really convenient for this three city-state empire because all of these locations like Washington, D.C., the Vatican, and the Bank of England are all on sovereign territory. So they do not abide by the Constitution or their country's laws. And they even have their own military. So now that Secretary of State Henry Kissinger made a deal with Saudi Arabia and we have the petrodollar system, OPEC was created to manipulate the global price of oil. Hence, one of the arms of the three city-state empire. They're literally called a cartel, and they're backed by U.S. military force, one of the three city-state empires. So step back and look at the 40,000-foot view, right? This cabal, this three city-state empire, goes around to every country and strong-arms them. They forced Nixon to take us off the gold standard so that we were weak, so that they could completely control us. So our dollar was worth nothing. So we had to be dependent on other countries for oil and the U.S. military to enforce our dollar to be worth anything. And side note, don't you find it interesting that the king of Saudi Arabia that Kissinger met with, he was assassinated only days after he met with Kissinger, and supposedly he was assassinated by his nephew, who lived in the U.S. for a while and studied there. Supposedly he was being recruited by the CIA or Mossad. Interesting. I mean, if you read between the lines there, it looks like we secretly came to Saudi and kind of took over, assassinated the king and made that deal. The world has to sell oil in petrodollars. Interesting. But look what's happening. The cabal, the cartel, OPEC, is only needed when a currency is not backed by an anchor, like gold. So who has the gold now? Supposedly we do. Look at what Trump posted on April 20th of 2025. The golden rule of negotiating and success. He who has the gold makes the rules. Supposedly our military, special forces, Q, special ops, went and took the gold back from the Vatican and from Venezuela and other places. Supposedly we took 500 plane loads just from the Vatican back and gave it back to other countries and to ourselves. And Trump said that he's going to show us the gold in Fort Knox. We don't have any hard evidence proof of this yet, but this has been slowly leaked out in grassroots movement like Q. And Q says, you can't tell the people, you have to show them, right? So what if we're watching this movie play out, showing us that we've been strong-armed by this three city-state empire cabal, depending on other countries for oil, and having our currency manipulated, but now we're watching the leveling of the playing field because we went and got the gold back. What if the information about us having the gold hasn't come out yet because we're playing 5D chess?
We got 10 minutes.
What if that's part of the trump card? The art of war. When you are weak, appear the strongest. And when you are the strongest, appear weak. What if we're appearing weak right now? I mean, look at the United Arab Emirates and China. They met on April 15th, and they signed 24 different trade deals that are worth over $100 billion. I mean, to the world, it looks like our dollar is worth nothing right now. And the United Arab Emirates are doing deals behind our back with China. It looks like China is winning now. They're threatening to change the petrodollar, so everyone will have to buy oil in yen. Look at who won the Kentucky Derby. Golden Tempo. Gold. And what is a tempo? Think about it. Think about that name. Tempo is the speed or pace at which a musical piece is played at. Speed. QPost 314. It's about to break. Godspeed, Patriots. What's about to break? The media? The fiat dollar? look at the horse Golden Tempo. He has a cross on his forehead. God speed, Q post 314. Bible verse Haggai 2:8. The silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. And look at the horse Golden Tempo. In the Kentucky Derby, he came from dead last to first. Matthew 20:16,
This is
the same year that Trump won the election. So the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Many are called, but few choose to answer the call. Was Golden Tempo winning the Kentucky Derby a calm? That we're on God's time now, and we're about to see the global reset of Jesus Christ flipping the money tables. And take a look at the Met Gala, this red carpet Hollywood event. All these celebrities come together to celebrate this art and this art gallery. And we all know what goes on with art and art galleries. Hillary Clinton was known for shipping live art on her barges and her shipping containers. So what was really going on at the Met Gala in the past? But now take a look at all the celebrities that were on the red carpet wearing gold this time. Look at Rihanna. She's completely in a golden Q. Q post 194, Iran deal, photographed covered in gold. Is this a con from the White Hats? That we have the gold, we have the Trump card, and that gold shall destroy the Fed, and gold shall destroy the cabal, and the three city-state empire? And look who else has been in the news lately. Sydney Sweeney. She's mirroring Marilyn Monroe. In my opinion, Marilyn Monroe was more than just a pretty face. I think she was a secret undercover agent. She worked closely with the Kennedys, and I think that whole relationship with JFK was a psyop and a distraction from what she was really doing. What if she was working with the White Hats and Q and Special Forces to take out the pedophile elites of Hollywood and get the information on them? And what if Rihanna wearing a gold Q and Sydney Sweeney mirroring Marilyn Monroe? What if all these people are undercover agents helping special forces take down the pedophile elites of Hollywood? What if they come out eventually and tell the truth of what's been happening? So what is really going on with Iran and the Hormuz Strait? What if we're watching a strategic leveling of the playing field of currency? What if this is about power, leverage, and the art of the deal? What if we are watching the stage being set for the next phase of the global monetary system? The United Arab Emirates put out a warning before they left OPEC in May. They said basically to the US, you guys started this war in Iran, and if we run out of US dollars, we're going to sell our oil in Chinese yen or other currencies. And they said, we're going to start selling off your assets. And in the Persian Gulf alone, like Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi, Oman, Bahrain, all those countries together have around $2 trillion in US assets. That's enough to destabilize our markets. But the US Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, basically said, no, please don't do that. So he went before the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee and said that he's working on a dollar swap line deal.
Mr. Secretary, can you talk about this request and whether or not you expect to support it?
Many of our Gulf allies have requested swap lines. You would have just read about the UAE, and swap lines, whether it's from the Federal Reserve or the Treasury, are to maintain order in the dollar funding markets and to prevent the sale of the U.S. assets in a disorderly way.
Side note, I think Rob Lowe is totally playing
under 3 minutes.
Right now. But what if this was the art of war? What if we're appearing weak and panicking while really we're strong in the background, undercover? What if we're trying to bleed out the fiat dollar and crash it? And what if we're trying to crash the corrupt US market? What if we have something better running secretly behind the scenes? What if we have a new and different market? What if we have a new and different currency that's backed by gold? What if we have the gold? What if that's our trump card? And what if this is a 5D chess move strategy? Who has the gold now? Supposedly we do. Look at what Trump posted on April 20th of 2025. Meanwhile, at the same time, amongst all this chaos with Iran and the Hormuz Strait, Trump throws out there that he wants to take over Cuba. And this reminds me so much of the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis with JFK. I mean, JFK was averting a nuclear war by navigating a tense naval quarantine and negotiating the removal of Soviet missiles. That's exactly what's going on in the Hormuz Strait and with Iran. And JFK did say he wants to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. And we know that Iran was taken over by the CIA. Iran was the CIA headquarters.
President also speaking about the prospect of the U.S. taking over Cuba, quote, almost immediately. What do we know about that?
We'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, thank you very much, we give up.
What's really going on with the Iran war? What's really going on in the Hormuz Strait? Are we coming to a full stop on purpose by design? Do you trust the plan?
Patriot Princess.
Okay, that was a long one that she doesn't normally play. Okay, we got an hour now. Maybe. I don't know, you guys. They're not going to let me play it. Oh, come on. God darn it. Okay, we got it.
Got some interesting, cool stuff. We saw Frank 26 come out with his little video regarding the white papers. Now, this is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, because this is basically the public announcement for them to say that they are ready. It's not just about their government. Understand that it's pretty much stating to the public and to all of you that the GCR has commenced. The fact also too that their government or parliament is virtually in place. This is another indicator, but we'll get some reset stuff happening right now. So the Asian and Middle East are building their own alternative banking, and they have been done. That has been done for quite some time. But they're using the infrastructures of BRICS. We've talked about this quite some time ago. But they're going to be using the Chinese bridging or the Chinese SIPS system, which is basically an old SWIFT system, but with integrated technology through blockchain and what have you. And they've been building and facilitating through China. Now, what's really important just to understand is that this is your new multipolar financial system, or that being, of course, what most people believe to be the quantum financial system. Okay, so once you understand why China is so important, this, of course, enables other countries that were not pegged, but they were manipulated by the US dollar, can now settle in their local currencies. And that's what we want. There was a question that someone asked me the other day in amongst the 700 messages that I'm still getting through, but all countries, including Italy, will go back to their original currency. Okay, they will utilise through the euro, and as things progress through the next 2 to 3 years, you can expect that most countries will go back to their original currencies. Hence why this multipolar system has been created to depeg from the USD. So get very, very exciting. This is all this depegging from the old system into the new system. This is your old fork. We used to call it the old SIS system, and the old USD being incorporated into this new SWIFT system. And literally it is very swift, it is very fast, it is very, very safe. Whilst they still try to call it a CBDC, understand this is when your CBDC system was going to be implemented, is now going to be tokenized on the blockchain and regulated with stable coins. What are stable coins? Stable coins are those coins, ladies and gentlemen, that are backed by assets. So that's a very simple way of putting it, I hope, that one thing. But this week, or in this last week, we saw Western Union. We didn't get a chance to touch on it too much, but Western Union, huge, massive, 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 massive. One of the most popular ways of distributing money across the world. And, of course, that is now connected to the Solana. Sol. Is that a new calendar month, Sol? Okay, so they are pegged to Solana. It is expected, of course, to go one-to-one against stable coins. Now, let's talk about one-to-one. Isn't that a level playing field? That DJ spoke about in Japan, because it started in Japan, I believe, I'm pretty sure. He mentioned that one-to-one level playing field. He mentioned that in Japan many years ago. So that is expected, of course, anytime soon. This creates the whole sovereign nations, and that's why I said at the beginning of the show, the story behind the white papers sort of indicates securely that have the governments done their final settlements. We will wait and see. There is, of course, big movements at the Bank of International Settlements. We've spoken about this before. But what was very, very interesting is they recently done a review or an overview of that being the Basel III, which is the compliance that all the banks and central banks have to concur with regarding their gold and silver. Now, many countries in Asia have quietly been building up their silver reserves because their currencies will be backed by silver. Pretty sure that the land of Bhutan, its local currency was called the anew, and it is actually means silver in English. So there you go. So we watch the Bank of International Settlements not to focus on the negative of everything they've done over the years, but we focus on the positives. And these positives, ladies and gentlemen, are their latest review. It was a few weeks ago now, but on Basel III, which is basically 3.4, which is your new Basel IV compliance that each country has to comply with. The basics behind all of that is, of course, they must hold 60 to 80% of the physical gold and silver and platinum and that as well. And so that was a very interesting review. The reason I'm telling you all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is to give you total confidence that there is movement at the station. We then go across to London. Of course, the London Bullion Market Association, we often refer to it as the LBMA. Well, they have just released a very interesting article, and thank you to Goldilocks for this one. This one was brilliant. It was allocated versus unallocated silver or accounts, which is basically this is about the suppression of the silver market, paper certificates versus the physical. And this is why it was always said or speculated to us to actually hold the physical currencies. Understand, if you are holding silver certificates, they of course will be honoured. Just putting that out there before we start a short Q&A. And regulatory framework, of course, has been updated as well at the illustrious CFTC, which is your Commodities Future Trading Commission. We keep an eye on that, and I believe the final stages of that organisation is being finalised for its implementation for the final time, just throwing that out there as well. So I believe that is certainly going to disappear. Once it does, once everything, of course, has been flipped onto the mainstream platform, that being our quantum blockchain system, a lot of those will eventually disappear. So including the Bank of International Settlements, you'd be pleased to know. So we focus on these things, as I said to the boys in Malaysia yesterday. These things we need to just focus on for a short period of time. And boy, did we get some interesting news out of Malaysia yesterday. Interesting times. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before I forget, of course, as I said, this is like Saturday night at the movies with Mel. To everyone who is celebrating a Mother's Day, as I said on Holly's show the other night, mothers come in many different forms, and we wish everyone a very, very happy and blessed day tomorrow, regardless of whether you are an actual mum who's delivered a baby or you are a mother figure. That also includes the dads out there as well. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, it is all over to you. So I'm still getting used to this, having this admin do this recording and set me up. But ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very exciting, as I said, to be almost back home in a sense, to be able to have a Q&A. And I don't know what I just did to my screen. I'm just going to have to go back out. There we go. I feel better now. Must have touched something on my screen. So ladies and gentlemen, it is all over to you. I see quite a few people that have already been unlocked. So that's really cool. So where do I start? Sophie's there. So happy now. Let's just start from the top and we'll go through. So happy now. Would you like to ask your question, doll? And then we'll get to Dorothy and Sunday's child. No?
Mel, many of these people came in and they were not red mic'd.
Oh,
so I think you should start with Sophie.
Sophie, perfect. Excellent. Thank you for that. Thank you, the beautiful, beautiful admin. Sophie.
Hello, Mel. Hi, Mel. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Oh, wow. That's great. I'm good. I'm in Australia. I'm South Australia. I'm selling a home at the moment, and budget night, as you know, is on Tuesday. I've got acreage, so I'm up for capital gains tax.
Yes.
I think you said that it was going to be dropped by 20%, but everyone's sort of saying it's going to be increased from the 50% discount to 25%. So, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that?
Look, as I said, tell them to give you that link, and you can go in there yourself, Sophie, and you can find it. There is a 40% discount on the Commonwealth, the capital gains tax. It is in there. It's written. So just use that. It is written in the ATO, and you can find it by taking the capital gains tax adjustment. I believe it was July the 1st last year. And you can utilise that and shove that up to your accountant and what have you. So, yes, it has been reduced.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's okay. Do not read the articles. The articles are there to say that there's changes being made. They will push it until the cows come home tomorrow morning. But it is in there. Use those tools, as I always say. We use the articles to give us indicators that there's movement at the station, but you never ever believe what they say in the articles. You need to go back, have a look in the ATO, because every country is different, and you will find a link that says capital gains tax and the changes.
Thank you.
No worries. And if not, it doesn't matter. Jasara kicks in. That all comes back anyway. So, yeah. But
thank you. Thanks
so much. By the way, we win. No worries at all. Thanks, darling. Appreciate you. So, what? No one else has got a question today? Oh my gosh.
If anyone has a question for Mel, just raise your hand and we'll take you one at a time.
There you go. So this is what I mean. It's really weird having admin. Let me tell you, it's really weird. So TBJ02, how are you?
I'm very good. How about you?
Excellent.
I have a question about the $100 trillion Zim bond.
Yes.
My question is, will the payout rate be solely determined by how much Zim we have, how long we agree to leave the proceeds in the bank before receiving the funds, and also the length of payout we agree to?
Wow. You go back to the person who told you all of that and ask them to substantiate it. You do that.
What is your I will.
My understanding is that the 100T note is a bond.
Yes.
It will go. It will. Okay, so it will be transferred once the adjustment's made. Now, let me make this clear. Actually, TBJ, I'm going to say this. Let's take it one step back. The adjustments are going to be made. They delete the zeros. However many zeros. Can I just get you to mute yourself, honey, because there's echoing in the background. But you stay right there, and you can ask any more questions in a minute, hun. So what happens there is that the 100T note, adjustments will be made according to per country, and adjustments will be made according to the revaluation in each country due to the fact that every country's currency will be revalued at the same time. So adjustments will be first made. This bullshit of people saying they're going to have one-to-one because it says so on the bond. Bond value at that particular time when it was actually printed was actually printed based upon the valuation of that country. That's why they're called 100T notes. So I want to plant that in the mind first so that people understand you're not going to get $100 trillion. So just please be careful of people who tell you, but it says so on the bearer. Yes, but there's algorithms in the background of how that is going to be dispersed. How it's going to be dispersed, as far as I can logically work out, based on what I've been told, is that it is a bond. Again, the adjustments will be made. You will be given an alternative bond represented in your country. It will go onto the bond market. If not, it will go back onto the bond market. It will be paid out as a bond. They got most of it correct in the sense that a bond is paid out over yields and it'll be trunched, as most people think. But it's not going to be trunched through some kind of redemption centre and this, that, and all the rest of it. It is be utilised on the platforms that have been integrated for this new quantum system. So I hope that makes sense to start with. Are we still with me, TBJ? O2? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go from there. So it goes onto the platform as a bond, because it is a bond. And it will be paid out in each country as per what is on those bond platforms. If it is a bond, it will get treated as a bond. You still have other currencies that are going to be utilised whilst you're waiting. The bond will then be yielded, and sometimes they are some countries I think even have a 3 yield. Year yield, a 5, a 10, a 15, 25, whatever it is in your country. But it will be treated as a bond. So anyone who's telling you any different, you need to stop and listen to your guts, which is your gut. In your gut, brain, and your brain up here, and if both of them are telling you something's not right, then you better start thinking logical for yourself and not listening to gurus telling you. Because logically speaking, it will be done on the platform, which that being a bond platform, you are not anything special or anyone different. You will be paid out as a bond. It will be paid out. It will be trunched, but it will be done legally. This is what President DJT has been telling everyone for a very long time. It will be done, and it's not going to be done in some ridiculous redemption centre that people think, oh, we're going to give you 1% and then we're going to give you 20% and we're going to do this. No. It is a bond. Anything that you do illegally from now on is going to be tracked. It is your quantum consciousness, so use it. Ladies and gentlemen, use your quantum consciousness to believe.
Does anybody
that,
have
doesn't it make more logical sense that your bond will be paid as a bond on the new quantum system, not through some redemption centre that's going to give you and make all these offers? Oh, and then we have this, oh, it doesn't matter how many bonds you have, they will all be treated the same. Just putting that out there. Now, if anyone tells you anything different along the lines of the basis of what your bond platform, and this is why I posted the Australian one up the other day, go into each country, go and have a look at your bond exchanges, your bond platforms, and study and research so you know that it is legal, it is legit, and it's on the quantum system. Because if anyone is going to be offering anyone the opportunity to say, well, you've got 10 and we're only going to pay you for 2, I think there's a little bit of corruption or a bit of sidekicking going on there, ladies and gentlemen, because a bond is a bond. I agree. But it will be all placed on the quantum blockchain. I hope that makes sense. Not ranting at you, by the way, TBJ. I'm just saying, I get asked these questions a lot lately, and I say, well, if there's deals like, oh, if you've got more than 3, rah, 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 that's bullshit. A bond is a bond, and it will be paid out. How they tranche that, they might spread them out over 25 years because you've got a lot, but it will be on a quantum blockchain system. And that, to me, makes the most logical sense. It throws out the window all the other bullshit that's been fed to us, including myself, for many, many years. We have a quantum system that I just went through for the first 20 minutes of this show, ladies and gentlemen, to explain to you that everything is integrated on a system. Any bullshit that comes from anyone else about a redemption center and all these other offers and all that sort of shit, and if you haven't woken up yet that there's something wrong, then that's on you. Don't come back at me, because I'm giving you the logical, most reasonable explanation on how a 100G note is going to be paid out. And it paid out on the quantum platform. Go have a look at your bond exchanges in each of your countries. So there you go. That's my rant for the day. But anyway, TBJ, has that answered pretty much all questions, or did you have anything else there, Don?
That pretty much answers all my questions. And yes, I did know it was a bond. It's just this whole system of paying this particular piece out is not so straightforward.
It is. It's not going to be straightforward, and trust me, TBJ. It wasn't at you, by the way, darling. That rant was not at you. But the thing is,
I don't take it personally.
No, because the problem is that we're hearing, and we hear so many times, so many different stories about how it is going to get paid out. A bond is a bond. That's it. Simple as that. They didn't spend the last 20 years building a quantum system to have people who are at redemption centres throwing out ideas that they're going to pay you this. It's not to say that they're not going to take that bond and do what you could have done, if that makes sense. So I'm very cautious when it comes to these 100T loans, because I've only got one myself. And it's like, I'm going to look after that little baby because it was gifted to me. And no one's going to take it off me and tell me that they're going to do something special for me. No, it goes on the platform, hun. And that makes logical sense. When you sit back and you think about all of what I've just said, make sure that your brain and your gut brain are in sync together, and you can satisfy yourself tonight after you sit down and watch another movie and go, that makes sense. I'm happy with that. That's what you have to come up with. That's on you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, and I thank you for your response. And no, I am not. I'm not taking it personally.
I just want to put it to rest, honey, because we are coming into crunch time, and they just freeze me. We are coming into crunch time, and I just want to make sure that people are clear that it's not on the quantum system. Then don't go giving away your Zims if you've got more than one to other people to do such and such and such and such. They need to substantiate this bullshit that they've been feeding us for years, and they can't substantiate it, then don't give it to them. Simple as that. That's my advice. So we'll go from there.
Thank you.
All right, champion, all the very, very best. All the very, very best. So who else have we got?
All for truth. All for truth. You are next. Did you have a question? All for truth.
She normally does.
Okay, winner circle. Winner circle. Do you have a question?
There she is. Absolutely. Hello, winner circle. You are in the right circle. Happy Mother's Day. You are a mum as well. So
Thank you, and you as well. Mel, I just love you. This is my very first time getting to speak with you. And I actually have a follow-up question
on
Mhm.
what you just spoke. Okay.
Yep.
I know it's a bond, and none of us really know how any of this is going to work. Been hearing a lot about deleting the zeros,
Mhm.
and I'm still not sure exactly, where that goes. But
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not holding you to it, but do you have any feel for what value 100 Zim bond will go for?
Oh, I have plenty of hunches, honey, but it's
Would love
irrelevant
your
because.
would love your hunch.
Well, okay, so let's. My heart is very torn right now on a lot of things myself, but let's go with this process here. Let's take the 100 trillion note and we knock off 3 zeros. That means it's worth what, 100 million? 100 million, I think it is.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, in a bond case, let's go with generally the yielding is around about 3%.
Okay.
So look at it in that perspective.
Would that
So whatever
be a yield, the annual yield? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yep. So we've got
3% on 100 million.
multiply that
Annually.
by 3%. Yeah, it's $3 million.
Oh, I can
It's a tough
live
gig,
with
isn't
that.
it? You can live with that?
I can live with that.
This is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I mean, again, that's not to say that's what it is. What I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, is if you were to go in and have a look at and it starts to make so much more sense when you do it. It makes so much more sense. So what happens is, honey, is like I said, you go into research about your bond exchanges in your country and work it out, and there you have it. You will have some idea. Anyone who tells you it's going to be 33 million, is like, well, substantiate that for me. Substantiate that. Because if it's going to be classed as a bond on a bond exchange, you'll get X amount, and that's trunching. That's the legal way of doing it. And then you can work out from there. But you go and have a look in your bond exchange in your country, and I've just given you half the answer of what you have just asked me. So there you go.
Thank you so very much.
Does that make sense to you?
It makes
more logical?
perfect sense.
Throwing out
Perfect.
some bloody figures, beautiful. So you go do that, girlfriend. It's an exciting exercise to do. And when you sit down and do it yourself, boy, does it create some bubbles and juices. Yes. Go and have a great time tonight, honey. Saturday night at the movies with Mel. So I'm telling you, it's exciting. But that
great.
is another way of doing that. So I'm very excited about that process. So enjoy that process, ladies and gentlemen. So Winner's Circle, thank you, honey. And it's so good to have newbies up here as well. They get a chance to come on and ask their questions.
Well,
So
thank you. And I
darling.
just love you. I love your personality. I love how smart you are. And you're a wonderful person.
Thank you very, very much, darling. Appreciate you. All for Truth. How are you, Dom? Oh, All for Truth. He's just putting her hand up again.
Yeah.
She always has a little bit of enlightening.
Please wait for your name to be called.
There she is. There you go. All for Truth. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Yes, we're all still getting used to this whole admin thing. So sorry, darling. But All for Truth. Knock yourself out. What have you got for us this evening? You've always got some enlightening subjects to discuss.
Well, I was going to ask your take on the Schumann or Showman chart frequency that's been exploding this week. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, absolutely feeling it. Definitely feeling it. Look, we saw. So again, it kind of appeared, didn't it, hun? It really actually just appeared, and then we started focusing on it. But we're certainly feeling what they are throwing out there, and it's connected to, if you were to think of it on the perspective of, if you've ever seen those videos where they actually tap into the mushroom and the mushroom sings to you, this is what the Schumann resonance does. It's singing away. And we saw a beautiful solar flare out of Russia the other day. They were talking about this, one of the largest flares, and it was purple. Purple is royalty. But anyway, that's another story. But we're certainly feeling it. It's apparently it is linked to the quantum energies of the Earth and the Earth frequencies. Some people say, many people have many theories about it. As I said, it did appear, so I often wondered if it was created to give us attention to the ascension process. But, you know, whatever speculation there is behind it, it certainly has some credibility in the sense that we are all feeling the hits from, as I said, regardless of whether they're solar flares or whether they're quantum direct odds. We had some interesting examples just recently where animals have been responding, I guess you can say, to very strange activities and energies and frequencies as well. So if your animals, domesticated animals, are behaving strangely, it is also that they are ascending, I believe, as well. So many things, all for truth. As I said, I don't follow it per se, but I certainly feel the energies and the energy changes. And when people and I are talking about it, they say, well, the Schumann resonance lines up with that. So you certainly got to give it some credibility. So what's your take? Anyways, all for truth, what are you up to?
Well, I hear you, but I do believe that it has been definitely off the charts at least the last week. And it's interesting you talk about animals, because I got 2 cats.
Ooh, got cut off.
You're frozen.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, too. Anyway.
So I've got 2 cats, and this week it's as if they're seeing things in the house. They normally go out in the sunroom, and now they're not going out at all. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, I definitely think there's a shift change going on to some degree, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel it too. So
yeah, it is. So
appreciate you always, and love talking to you. Take care.
Always, always, always. So who we got next? I believe Anna R and Mary, maybe. God's truth.
God bless America. God bless America is next.
Beautiful.
God bless America is next.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, Mel. Hi,
How are
Mel.
we?
Good. How are you? I'm from
Awesome.
South Carolina. I have a question, though. I've been trying to research this, and I can't get the answer. What I'm wondering, since the king was here, and we're supposed to be going to the gold standard, is there a time limit from the time that we're taken, we're released from the crown to go to gold standard? Is there a time limit on that? When it has to be done is what I'm asking.
Okay, so if you believe what we believe to have happened is, yes, it has happened, it has occurred. The timing will be as certain other things behind the scenes that we are not aware of to happen, and then I think it will be officially announced after that, darling. I'm not privy to that kind of time frame, but there is no time frame. See, once this goes over, that's it. There's no going back, because we can't go back to the old system. The old system, once it dies completely. And looking at what I saw out of the CFTC today and this morning, I'm pretty sure they're completely done. So the timing per se is to say, well, okay, like I said, there might be some things that need to be done in the background that we're not privy to, and but you can rest assured that's never happened before today, and it is definitely coming. Timing is everything. Are we in the 30-day window? Probably next week we will start to get some more clarity on that. I'm thinking around about the 17th of May through to June. I think we're going to get absolute clarity as to when that complete change for us, we the people, are going to actually see. So I think you just got to hold on a little bit longer. God bless America. As in the timing, it has definitely happened. I can see it. I went in there today and they've deleted a lot of things already out of the CFTC. There was no press releases, although they might give a press release every now and again. To me, the Futures Trading Commission, that being the CFTC, I believe it's in the final stages of them finalising, ticking their sheets and all that sort of stuff, and we should be good to go. So time-wise, based on fundamentals, any time, I think we're still about a week away to get actual clarity on that, plus the Clarity Act, which we already know has been implemented. It's been part of that alterations, those transitions. They will formally announce it. It's already happened, but they will formally do that. That is believed to be the 14th of May. So I think anything after the 14th of May, darling, thereabouts around the 17th, and we give thanks after that. So not far to go now, darling. Not far to go, based on fundamentals. My pleasure, honey. My absolute
thank you,
pleasure.
and have a blessed night.
You too.
Thank you. Karen S. Karen S. as a superwoman.
Yes, superwoman.
25.
Hey.
Hello.
Well, you're talking to Super Bat Girl, so we're all good. Sorry. So what's happening?
Yes, I am going back to asking about the bond again. I have a different question. I'll tell you a little bit of why I'm asking. For 5 years, I was a caregiver for my mother. Starting right about the COVID thing, many of my family members wanted her to get that, and I said no. I kept her safe, I kept her well, and she just passed a few months ago. While we were together, she wanted me to be able to have her house, and I would like to have her house. But my question is, when we do receive the funds from our bond, how long is it before we will be able to use the finances that the bond will give us, so that I would have that available for me to buy the house? Is there an answer to that? I have a deadline.
No, that's okay, darling. I know everyone wants a deadline, and
well, I actually have one. My sister and my brother say I only have till the 4th of July to be able to buy the house, or they are going to put it on the market.
Okay, always the pressure from the family. First of all, our thoughts and prayers for you and the family, for your mum's as she passed over. So our thoughts are with you firstly and foremost with that. Again, Karen, it's when I get these beautiful stories, it breaks my heart. But I can tell you this, darling. When you know where you're heading, although the family are putting pressure on you, this goes for a lot of families that do that, understand that their hearts will also be touched in some form or way during this transition over to, and it will all work out how it's meant to work out, honey. All right, there is no time frame because, as I said, will they give you whatever the infrastructure is, and structures get changed, you can certainly ask, can I have an advancement on my yield? I don't know what that is going to be entailed in that section, but honey, you will always find a way, okay? You will always find a way. And take the pressure off yourself with the fact that the family has said, we'll sell the house after the 4th of July. Take that pressure away from you, okay? Because as I said, as things start to unfold, this is why we often said Did we hedge against other things? If you are holding other currencies or you're holding other things such as silver and things like that as well, once this flip happens, then you can certainly use those. You don't have to just stay focused on the $1 trillion note, although if that is all you have, then as I said, there will be other allowances that you can do through this process. So take the pressure off yourself. Don't worry about the timing. It will all sort itself out. But yeah, if you have hedged on other things, you can use those other things to pay for that. It doesn't necessarily have to be that $100 trillion note or a $10 trillion note. But you can ask. You have to ask.
Yes.
As God says. Okay? Yes. So there's always ways around it.
I have one question.
Yeah.
I have gifted to 3 ladies who are widows. I've gifted currency to them. And has asked some questions. And I said, wait, don't do anything, just wait. When it happens, it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Some of them, a couple of them know more about what's going on, but there's one that doesn't know too much. But one of them question in regards to setting up like a Coinbase account or XRP. And one that asked me, someone was trying to walk her through something, and I said, don't do it. Don't go through, let someone do it for you, because
yeah, that's
3 years ago, 3 years ago, I didn't know anything, and I let someone walk me through getting the XLM and the XRP, and they took it. And so I told don't do anything that anyone on Telegram tells you, like, you got to do this. But what I wanted to know, is there a safe way for someone to find how to set up a wallet or set up the Coinbase account? Is there a safe way?
Yes. You know what the easiest way to do it is that she sits down and utilize the tools that we have. Ask Groke to give you the instructions yourself, and you do it yourself, and then it's done. You don't have anyone else doing it for you. You do it yourself. But if you ask Groke, and they give you all the instructions on how to do it yourself. But Coinbase is very safe. There's actually 2 different types of wallets in Coinbase. There's a tradable one, and there's one that just acts like a cold wallet, and it doesn't earn anything. It doesn't disappear. It just sits in that wallet. So so study and research that one. Maybe we should do something over in the digital assets with that. But yeah, I would be asking Groke, to be honest, Karen.
Okay.
That's what I'd be doing. And that way she can do it herself. And they give the easiest instructions. Whenever I'm in doubt, I do it myself.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. But thanks for letting people know that, if you allow other people on Telegram or other people on the phone talking you through it, no. This is why I said take responsibility. Take responsibility and do it yourself. But yeah, that's my best advice for that situation. No worries, darling. Too easy.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all your...
That's all right, darling. My pleasure.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you. Who is next?
Thank you, Karen. Mrs. C. Did you have a question?
Hello, darling.
Hello from South Africa. How's things?
No, good on your side.
Yeah, excellent. Yes.
That's good. Mine is I don't know, it fell in with the first person that spoke about the tax and that. We are planning to buy a house, obviously, after this has gone through.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how it works in other countries, but when we buy a house, we pay the purchase price.
Yes.
We pay tax on that. and we pay a deeds office for registration of the property into our name.
Yes.
What is it still going to be like that? Like as soon as, because as I say, that would be one of the first things that we buy as a house.
Yeah, correct.
So will that have changed? Would the systems have changed? Like
Again,
at by
I think
then, or
I think the system will change over a period of time. So the system will remain until that is changed. And then, as I said, as Jasara kicks in, then you'll get that money, that tax that you paid on that property should come back to you if it hasn't changed. But as I said, I think this is going to be a smooth transition. I don't think everything is going to change all at the same time. That's why I said to Sophie before, and if it wasn't deemed to be reduced, so to speak, or whatever, either way we win because the taxes do come back once it's all settled. The timing is anyone's guess. But, you know, definitely once this happens, you know, make allowances for your taxes that you have in South Africa. We're talking about South Africa here, ladies and gentlemen. Also make those allowances. I put that aside. But, and then, as I said, as it changes. Look, we've seen so many changes, as you know, Mrs. C. You send me some of the best articles for South Africa. There was a fantastic one just the other day regarding Zimbabwe and Zambia.
yeah, that was lovely. With the farms coming back.
Yeah. So the farmers are getting their farms back in South Africa. And if you were to think even 6 months ago, would you have thought that was going to happen? Never in a lifetime.
No,
So
but I was praying for it.
You were praying for that, and rightly so for those who have lived in South Africa and the white farmers, so to speak. That is a huge, huge step for change. That right there is Jasara in itself, that we see that. So I hope people appreciate the agony that a lot of other countries have also suffered, and the fact that they gave back 67, I think, farmers were given back their land. You can't tell me that's not just
those are big farms too, hey?
Yeah,
really
they were big farms. They were very big farms. So it goes to put everything to rest, though, Mrs. C, that if it's happening in South Africa, we saw many, especially here in Australia, they had many farms or farmland was taken away from them. It would be interesting to see how this all starts to unfold, because if it's happening in South Africa, it will be definitely happening in other countries. But again, the timing is so different. You know, have the farmers in Australia done enough, so to speak, you know, before they start handing back farms. We have to have learnt our lesson, if that makes sense. In retrospect, I'm saying that respectfully. I'm not saying that losing your farm is not respectful, but you know, have we learnt that whatever it is that we're meant to have learnt through this process, it wasn't about fighting for the land, that we all want to fight for our land, but the fact it was taken from these white farmers in South Africa, that was, you know, you guys have been fighting over there for stability in, you know, black and white. And this takes me back to Michael Jackson's in my head now. It's nor black nor white. But you all had to go through that process, wasn't it? It was specifically targeted at the white African farmers. It was the apartheid. So again, like I said, whatever lessons are in each country is going to be different. The timing is going to be different. The fact that these farms are given back, I think that is just huge, huge news out of South Africa. As I said, that's a part of your Jasara. So again, I see implementations of this. Everyone wants it to happen for them straight away. But as I said, certain things will change. But it's the same with your taxes, darling. As I said, I've seen the changes. You've only got to go back in July of last year and see the 26,000 changes. It's in there. Again, timing. We all want the timing, but we will have to just sit back and go back to the research maps and have a look at what's happening in your country and see if you can work it out, because I'm not here to give exact dates and rates and things like that as well, because it's so I sort of made that very clear. So, and thank you again to TBJ02 for asking the question the way he did, even though it triggered my little rant. It was the way that he expressed that question is why I could explain it the way I did, because it is very frustrating at the moment. But they set these benchmarks and expect every country to be the same, and it's not going to be, and that's my point. So, but honey, like I said, make allowances. If you know your tax system over there that's how it is at the moment, then you're going to have to suck it up one more time. But I do believe you will get all of that back.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Another thing also that kind of goes with that is we have a thing that you pay rates and taxes every month on the land to the municipality.
Okay.
Would that sort of thing still be implemented, or does the tariffs? How's that sort of thing?
The tariffs, perfect. Girlfriend, I love you. Yes, tariffs will actually take over that. Here in Australia, it's going to be the Royal Assent, ASSENT, the Royal Assent, and that's going to be our tariff. So yes, so the tariffs will supersede all of that bullshit, so to speak. So how fast they implement it, but very well done, great on your research for South Africa. That's how they will implement that, yes, through the tariffs. So,
no, that's great. Now, I said that to Grafton last night, I think it was. We mustn't panic about looking at what the rates and taxes and that are going to be on these properties.
No,
going to go.
It will go, but I see where he's going with that. You know, you may have to add that in, factor it in to start with, and then if it changes straight away, then happy days. But definitely factor it in. You've got a very good man there, very strong man. So so I could hear him mumbling in the background. So, but yeah, happy days.
All right. Now he was asking me to ask you something. Sir?
Hi, Mel.
Hey, Galton, how are you, Dom?
Well, I saw something the other day that as far as capital gains, they have to reduce by about 20% of what they're doing at present.
Yeah, thank you very much, Grafton, for that confirmation. As I said, in some countries it's going to be up to 40%. New Zealand, I think they're going to have the full 40% taken out as well. So, so Grafton, if you're looking for it, you're going to see it. If you're not looking for it and you're just going to keep bitching about it, ladies and gentlemen, then you're not going to see it. But Grafton, thank you so much for that, and we'll definitely catch up very soon.
No, we'll just keep our eye on things that that I mentioned.
Absolutely, and rightly so. And we will definitely catch up with you very soon. So thank you, Mrs. C and Grafton from the beautiful country of South Africa. We will definitely catch up again very, very soon. So, and happy Mother's Day, Mrs. C.
Yes, and you too.
You too. We're sisters in arms, aren't we? Perfect. Lovely.
Bye.
That's okay. Bye, darling. God's Alf, who have we got next?
Hi, North Light Worker, come on up.
Night Worker.
Hi, Mel.
Hello. How are we? Yes.
Good, thank you. I just want to ask a question about Iraq.
have they sorted out the problems with the militias? Because I asked ChatGPT regarding, because I get regular updates from him in regards to the Iraqi dinar, and I asked him a question about the, there was a question. Sorry, I'll just rephrase it. So in regards to the Iraqi dinar, because he stated that there's conditions that the Forex has before a country can exchange their currency. So because Iraq has a problem with militias, they cannot exchange with the Forex unless they sort out the issues of the militias in their country. What's the situation in Iraq regarding that?
I've just written down some notes because I'm so glad. I love these random questions because this is the nitty-gritty of it all. Yes, it still has conditions on it. Is it from the militia? Possibly. But we're seeing, I'm going to use Pakistan as an example because I'm pretty sure, even though they've told you that, those conditions will actually get lifted very soon. Okay, so they can flick those conditions. Let's go to Pakistan, Afghanistan. These areas are now being ruled by their militia. So how does that change? Does that make sense? So again, every country has different conditions, and I'm glad you brought that up. But as I said, depending on each country and how each country is being ruled under the militia, which is militar, which is the people's military, but these are good military as well. There is a lot of bad militia who think they can come in, and these, of course, are the what we call the Black Lives Matters type situations. My understanding is in Iraq, that was brought up to the table. So good on you for that. But my understanding is those conditions will be lifted completely. But if not, as I said, if they are going to do it precautionarily, I have said this before, that if there was conditions remained on the exchange of the currencies, they will peg it to Kuwaiti dinar or Jordanian
we'll go
dinar.
to the 3 hour mark.
Yes, yes.
23 minutes.
I get really annoyed with gurus and leaders giving false information. Saying, "Oh, it's going to happen," but it never happens because I believe in the fundamentals of the RV. First of all, there needs to be peace on earth, no more wars. Because Simply Lynn on YouTube, she's a Christian patriot. She has contacts within the military. She stated that the RV and the Zara go hand in hand, which makes sense. Because Brucey says, when we go and exchange our currency, so the next step is we get our QFS. So, what's the point of going to a redemption center when the Zara is not ready? So these leaders are saying, "Oh, guys, it's really close," but it's not really close. I just get sick of the misinformation.
No, 100%. As I said, I don't expect to see any kind of confirmation until next week. We'll get some kind of indicator, but yeah, no, I'm not getting into the dates and rates things because, as I said, we're still seeing many little things happening in many countries. But if they were to pull the trigger, as I said, those conditions will remain with the Iraqi dinar, and then, like I said, they could easily peg it with the technology that they have if they were going to release it. But yeah.
Awesome. And regarding the Forex, because I understand the Forex is part of the Kabul. So that's
been taken over too. That's been taken over too. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to share another little insight for people to go and have a look at. So if you were to talk about, you think the cabal is still running the Forex? I had a confirmation this morning when I was hunting around in the CFTC. which is your Commodities Future Trading Commission, which basically rules the exchange rate, basically, for the old cabal. If you were to go into that site, sweetheart, there's been nothing done since 2012 or 2014, I should say. So who's in control? It ain't the cabal. I can tell you that right now. So Forex is under control. And as I said, when I saw that this morning, I was like, going to throw that out there for all of those people, such as like the guys from Canada and things like that as well, who do these deep dives in the Bank of International Settlements. They're doing their final reviews. And as I said, eventually they go away. So I'm looking forward to all of that. So the Forex exchange, as I said, they're utilising the quantum system through the Forex exchange. BRICS have total control of that. There was some indicators, I think, even from the reason I put Frank 26 video up is I don't normally promote other gurus at all, but what he was actually saying was basically the signing off of the IMF, the World Trade Organization, the World Bank, all of those things. What people have to understand, if you replace, this is a great exercise for yourself too, honey, if you replace IMF and World Bank with BRICS pay system, the quantum system, your heart just is happier, okay? Because yes, the IMF and all of them were cabal. They were, darling. But if you replace them, because there was a fantastic article, I believe it was in Watch Your Guru, there was an article that says that the IMF and the World Bank and that are all working alongside of BRICS. And BRICS, as I said at the beginning of the show, is your quantum system. So if you take it, and every time you hear IMF, you don't think of cabal, I want you to think of that's your quantum system. So I believe the finalisation, the final movements, fundamentally, from the BIS, the CFTC that I checked this morning, I believe they have all signed off. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so I thought when you said that little emotional thing about the cabal, I thought I'm going to throw that one in there. So that's how much I love doing this research, because I get to have those little snips that keep me motivated to share with all of you. But you can go check it out yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. So would that be announced when the when UFS goes public?
Does it go public? I think it's just going to flip one day. You're going to wake up and you're just going to know. But do they announce it? I don't know. I don't think there's going to be an announcement. I think there's just going to be, due to the pandemic, all your systems have now changed. So there you go. But with that, yep.
Oh yeah, sorry. So people that have because I did have some money in the Wise app and invested in the VND. Oh, no, not VND. The dog.
Yes, the VND. Yeah.
So if it switches over to the new Forex, I understand that the dong rate will be different at the bank compared to what's on Wise. Will it be the same as what they're showing on the when you go to the bank and get the exchange rate?
Yeah, they're all the same. They're all going to be the same, honey.
Awesome.
The reason they're going to be slightly different is because of their fees and their structure, their infrastructure within that company. But generally speaking, darling, it's all going to be about the same rates, same prices. It's just their fees and that they take out, all their transfer fees and all that sort of stuff. But it's going to be much of a muchness, to be quite honest.
Okay. Oh,
okay.
Thank you, Mel.
That's quite okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just realised the hour is up, God's elf. So you're going to have to keep a list of those who didn't quite make it up here. They were a bit long-winded answers today. Normally they're not as long, but I just realised the hour is up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for me.
All right, we got 2 Mels in this week. Buzz. All right, so we got one 10-minute one, and then I'm going to finish off with about 5 short. Let's say we'll go to the 3-hour mark. Oh, wait, might not make 5. This one's another important one here, 10 minutes. You guys remember this one?
Go along and go read all this. This is nationallibertyalliance.org. This is military tribunal courts, folks.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
You're fixing to find out. Look at this. Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury. Valhalla. That's interesting. Remember Kash Patel said, I'll see you in Valhalla? Well, here's the address for it. This is interesting because all of this is what you're seeing today. It is. And that's why Trump's fixing to declare martial law and remove all your government employees, including all of your attorneys, law enforcement officials, judges, mayors, and governors. I'll leave this here for you guys just for a second so you guys could read all this. Sedition of conspiracy, misprision of treason, attempted and conspiracy, subordination of perjury, treason, sedition, and subversive activities. Okay, so the purpose of filing in all U.S. federal district courts is because of widespread failing to file 18 U.S.C. 2071. Now look at this. Right here. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republic form government.
Yes, I don't
and
think
shall protect
this is
each
a
of them
different one,
against
right?
invasion. I'm fixing to show you guys something. Look at this. All these people were served. Every single one of them. State militias, Joint Chiefs of Staff, U.S. Marshals, federal special agents, all county sheriffs, governors, all 50 states, senators, all 50, assemblymen of all 50 states, United States senators, United States Congress members, all state courts, and they have refused to uphold the law. Oh shit, served all news medias. Under penalty of law, editor is to report or print a copy for the people. Failure to do so will consider aiding and abetting the enemy. Oh wow, this document is not for interpretation by bar attorneys. That means that they're going to get rid of all your bar attorneys, folks. Oh, look at this. These are your common law grand jury courts in your states. All 50 of them. Look at that. That's crazy. Oh, what's this?
What do you think of this one, you guys?
United States District Court for all districts. We the people, sureties of the peace. Oh my God, they were given a writ of quo warranto. Look at this. News medias, all senators, all your county sheriffs. Oh my God. Holy shit. Come now that constitute unified common law grand juries of the 50 United States of America this evil day to command all county, state, federal, and U.S. Supreme Court judges and clerks to perform their duty, guaranteeing to every state in this union a republic form of government and protect each of them against invasion or vacate your office now. Holy cow, they ain't playing around. Look at this. This explains why when Trump took office in 2017, he had military with them. And his first words out of his mouth was, today's a great day, one that will go down in human history as the greatest day ever, because today we are not transferring power from one administration to the next or from one party to the next, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., the government, your lawmakers, and we're giving it back to you, the people. And he did it through a writ quo warranto back in 2015. This was signed. Look at this. This is crazy. This explains why Trump's fixing to declare martial law. Look at this. Oh my God. Look at this. Our servants have kept among us in times of peace, standing armies and excessively militarized local police forces without the consent of the people. Your law enforcement officials have no authority over we the people. Look at this. Trump's going to eliminate your government, people. Look at this. Our servants have imposed a multiple property robbing taxes, direct taxes, fees, and fines on us without consent. Our servants have deprived us of the benefits of honest trial by jury. Oh my God. Right there, no law could ever come out of D.C. Ever. Oh my Lord. Folks, listen to what I'm fixing to tell you. This stuff that I'm showing you is backed up by that Executive Order 13818, property block for human rights abuse and corruption. Corruption is enforcing laws that don't even exist. We're going to stroll all the way down here because if you guys want to go read this, this is amazing. This is epic. War against the Constitution / people by Congress. Excuse me. Congress has no authority. They cannot put a law into law. They have no authority over we the people whatsoever. They're supposed to do what we tell them to do. That's it. Look at this. This is what the government had planned for us, folks, was to take everything away from us. Everything. We would have nothing and be happy. And Trump eliminated all that back in 2017 when he gave power back to we the people. And you guys are out here bitching about him using military. It's not against we the people, folks. This is not what this is coming for. What military is fixing to be deployed for under martial law is for your rich and powerful people that have control over we, the people. You have to eliminate the threat to our sovereignty, folks, in order for us to have sovereignty. And that's exactly what he's doing. Look at this. This is crazy. Like I said, you guys can go read this. You can. They're not even supposed to take away your fucking gun rights. Look, no law, number 8. No law abridging people to keep and bear arms.
How's this one finding out?
Shall ever be done. That includes all background checks for guns, folks. Let's get down here to the bottom real quick. I'm running out of time. Oh, wow. This is what they're ordered to do. This is crazy, people. And again, you can go find that all right there, nationallibertyalliance.org. Hope this helped you guys out. This is insane. I'm going to read more on it.
All right. I hope that was all right for everybody. I think it was a new one. Thanks, Maya. Okay, we got a couple short ones I'll play and make it 3 hours here. I didn't want to do that one. God darn it. I screwed up again.
It's an open-air drug market where MS-13 and the 18th Street Gang, they're fighting over who gets to sell poison like it's season 3 of Narcos.
This would be
I went to the historic park yesterday, just hours before the federal raid. I saw people getting high, and all around were people apparently doing what's called the fentanyl fold, when people's bodies fold in half while on fentanyl. I also saw a young man hit the ground, go unconscious. He was revived by LA homeless workers who told him he overdosed, and they left him with boxes of Narcan.
The fentanyl fold. That's the new California landscape for you, I guess. Well, wait until you see the show the feds just put on in the park the other day, and you're never going to believe what they found. Plus, Ken Griffin essentially gives Zohran Mamdani the middle finger. It's good. But before we get to those stories, I want to take a second to talk to you about something that actually matters to your wallet. If you're around retirement age, you know the drill. The Medicare machine starts coming for you, right? The mailers start piling up on the counter like a mountain of junk mail. Your phone is ringing off the hook with strangers pushing plans you've never even heard of. It's overwhelming. But that's why I partnered with Chapter to help you out. They are the only Medicare advisor that compares every plan available nationwide, not just the ones a broker gets paid to push. They look at your doctors, your prescriptions, and your priorities. Then they're going to match you with a plan that actually works for you. And here's the big difference. Their advisors are salaried. They're not trying to sell you a specific plan to make a buck. They're there to help you make the right decision. If you're already on the best plan, they're going to tell you that. If you're not, they'll help you switch. A call with Chapter is free, and they've helped folks save an average of $1,100 a year on their healthcare costs. So if you're turning 65 or already on Medicare, call Chapter at 833-932-1386. Again, that's 833-932-1386. Now, when you call that specific number, they're going to know I sent you, and I promise you, they're going to take very good care of you. Don't let the system play you. Call Chapter and get it right. All right, let's head back to LA, where the adults finally entered MacArthur Park. Federal agents moved in, cut the locks, and busted a Sinaloa cartel pipeline that was basically handing out death like it was a Halloween candy. They found 40 pounds of fentanyl in one stash house alone. That's enough to kill 190,000 people. Now you'd think, should we keep drugs just lately? Oh, it's supposed to be a place for families.
All right, you guys. I think I played that one. Sorry about that. But I got the Wire channel has a 28-minute video from yesterday I'm going to play tonight. And then 3 videos. Then a couple, I got one Nick Shirley we'll play tonight. We'll try to get 2 hours in tonight. So everybody have a good dinner and the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you back in a little bit. So, Boz, Bonnie, okay, Lucy, Tim, Carol, and God bless everybody. Love all. Please hit the like. Stay safe, stay strong, keep your faith. I lost my sign. Where's my sign? Oh, no sign. I must have misplaced it somewhere. So we'll see you in a little bit, you guys. Let's sign off, Chico and Dude.